Okay, good afternoon everybody. I can see we've got the cheap seats at the back and the expensive ones down the front. You could have all come a bit closer, saved me shouting and raising my voice. Have you all had lunch? Good. I'm going to go through this reasonably quickly. There's quite a lot to fit in, quite a lot of nuggets to get across to you, things that you can take away. If you're a business owner, you can put them into your business. If you're an employee and working for somebody, hopefully you can go back and share it with your team. And hopefully this will help develop not only your customer service, but the way you interact with your clients, your suppliers, your associates. So a little bit of background about me. I set my first business up when I was 17 years old in telecommunications, providing connectivity round Essex traditionally in the first stages. But that grew quite quickly. And by the early 2000s, we'd actually opened offices up in North in Skipton. And we grew our business through giving clients great service. Later on, in about 2009, we actually opened our first office in South Africa. And then we opened a further office in Johannesburg. So we had an office in Cape Town and an office in Johannesburg. We then opened an office in North America. And then slightly later on, we moved into the Middle East. So from something quite small, was set up back in 1995, 96, it developed and grew over time. But we did this by building relationships and helping our customers to go to the next stages, putting in the right technology at the right price and providing the right support and backup. So I want to talk to you today about getting and keeping customers. Because fundamentally, that is the key here. We all know it's hard to get customers anyhow. There's lots of competition out there. But what's even more challenging at times is actually retaining those customers. So we're going to go through 10 rules that I believe will help your business or the company that you work for to develop and grow and enforce a strategy to retaining those customers. So how many of you are business owners? Let's have a show of hands. How many are business owners? Okay, and the rest of you employed? Okay, so we've got a mix, about 50-50 in the room. Now before I go through the rules, I've got two things I just need a hand out. Just bear with me. Lady down the front here, would you mind holding on to this for me? You've got to look after it. Okay. And your name is? Louise. And I'm going to take a gentleman. I'm going to take you, sir, at the back here. Would you like to hold on to that for me? Keep it safe, because we will come back to that. And it does have a relevance in a short while you're going to be holding in blues. They do get a little bit annoying. You can probably let them drift up to the ceiling and we'll grab them in a second. But make sure you know where they are, because when I ask you, I'm going to need you to grab hold of them. So, customers are all unique, okay? They're individually DNA'd. You can't treat all your customers the same. You have to treat them individually and look after them as one. So, a bit like a barcode, it's unique. A bit like a zebra, the stripes on a zebra are unique to everyone. It's got its own pattern of DNA. My clicker will click. So, rule one, the customer is always right. Or are they? Is the customer always right? What happens in a scenario that something doesn't quite go to plan, maybe in a product you've sold or a service you've provided, and the customer complains? Do you argue back? Or do you bow down to the customer and say, yes, customer, you're right. You've bought a product, it's not what you wanted, whatever the reasons are. Might be because it's faulty, it might be because actually they just don't want it any longer. We've probably all bought something, got it home and looked at it and gone, oh, didn't really want to buy it. It was that impulse buy when I was walking around the store, and you go to return it. Now, you probably all experienced the scenarios. You'll go into certain stores and they will give you a refund straight away, and others will argue with you. Now, my principle on this, the customer is always right. Yes, they are. Because obtaining a customer is tough. But if you wind that customer up and annoy them, they're then going to not shop with you again. They're actually going to badmouth you. And the fact is that 16 people, when they have a shopping experience, if it's bad, they will tell 16 people that it was a bad experience. But only 3 or 4 will actually tell someone when it's great. So how many of you had a bad experience maybe you've gone to a restaurant, you've been shopping, you're more likely to turn around and tell people that you can't believe what happened to me today, and you tell the story. And I'm going to share a couple of stories throughout this presentation. But if you have a really good experience, and you might have had a fantastic experience, do you share it? Well, you will do with people close to you, but it's not so likely you're going to publicise it and talk about it. A cucumber, okay? This is a story that happened to me about 18 months ago. I went to a reasonably nice restaurant within the Essex area. I'm not going to reveal who it is because it's not fair. If you want to know, come and ask me afterwards. I'll quite happily tell you in confidence. And there's nothing wrong with the food. The service was pretty good. It was okay. We sat down, there were 6 of us. We had guests over from South Africa. And we had a nice meal. And the service was what I would call above average, but not exceptional. After dinner, we went and sat in the bar area, in their lounge to have drinks. And I like a gin and tonic, but I like a certain type of gin. It is relevant, believe me, when I talk about a cucumber. I like Hendrick's gin. And with Hendrick's, you have a slice of cucumber. So when the waiter said, "What would you like to drink, sir?" I said, "I'd love a Hendrick's and tonic." And he went, "No problems." And I said, "A slice of cucumber." And he looked at me and went, "I don't think we've got any cucumber, sir." I went, "Oh." I said, "Can you have a look?" And he went, "I could." So he ruffled around behind the bar. "No, sir, we've got no cucumber." Oh. I said, "Do you have any cucumber maybe in the restaurant that's just served me dinner? I'm sure you must have cucumber in the fridge." "Well, the kitchen's closed now." "Okay, but the restaurant's not closed. There's still people eating. We've only just come to the bar. There must be people in the kitchen." But he couldn't be bothered to go that extra mile and make me feel valued. So because of that reason, I'm telling you a negative story. Because the experience I had, even though dinner was great, the after effect wasn't brilliant either. So I wouldn't go back there by choice now. Unfortunately, one individual who wouldn't put cucumber into my Hendrick's gin and tonic has kind of made me go, that restaurant's not for me. About rule 2. So, about making the impossible possible. To keep customers and to gain customers, you've got to be different from your competition. If you're doing the same thing as your competition, what makes you different? Why is the potential client going to come and buy in your shop or spend money in your restaurant? What gives them the incentive to come in? If you're doing the same as next door, the person they have a choice, but they're not necessarily going to choose you because you're offering something better and great. So you've got to go that extra mile. So you've got to do things which are very, very different. And in some cases, that will be taking something that might seem impossible to many and make it possible. You've got to turn it on its head. Think about how you can add 1 or 2% to your service. How you can take something from average to expert level. Now, for business owners, how many of you are experts in the room at what you do? Come on, you're all experts because you're great at what you do. Don't let anyone tell you any different. If you're not thinking you're great and you're not an expert at what you do, then you're not going to portray that to your clients. And if they're not getting that warm, fuzzy feeling that you're an expert, they might go and source someone they believe is. So you've got to make sure that you're standing out from the crowd, you're seen as the expert, the go-to person, the professional. Take something that seems impossible and find a way to make it possible. How can you take it that extra step? Is anyone else warm? Excuse me a second. I'm melting. So, it's not just making things right, it's making them unbelievable. These are unbelievable. I mean, you would never see that over here, I'm sure. You know, a man riding a bicycle with probably about the best part of a ton of bricks on there. and a jockey riding a dolphin. They're impossible. And we actually put them in our minds and think, actually, that can't happen. And that's the same in your business, or maybe for the company that you work for. You perceive things as being impossible and not being able to be done. But even if you can make something better for a client, for a customer, someone comes in the store, you make it better for them. Don't just make it fix the problem they've got, make it unbelievable. Take it to the next level. So if someone comes into the restaurant, and I use the restaurant as an analogy because we can all relate to it, and has a dinner and there's not something quite right with it, you could say, well, I'll take the price of your main course off because, sorry, it was cold. Even though you might have warmed it up and given them that. But what you want to do is actually take it to the next level. So then their dinner's free. For all of you. And actually, come and have free drinks on us. Because now that becomes unbelievable. You've made it to them, this is a wow factor. And because of that, they would talk about what you do. They would talk about how you made them feel individual, loved, and how you would certainly probably come back to that restaurant because of what they've done for you to make you feel unique. Rule 4, be happy and smile. We've all heard this. If you're not smiling, if you're not happy at what you do, people will pick up on that very quickly. How many of you, and I'm going to use a word here, and it's actually not my word, it's a guy I know very, very well who's a presenter, and he uses a word called mudio bitchio. Now, let me explain who this individual is. And we've all come across this individual. But it's that person when you go to buy something that does not smile, okay? They don't smile, they've got the grim face. And when you're doing a transaction and they kind of look at you and, they don't want to be at work. They're not happy in their job. They're just coming there because they're earning some pocket money. They've got no interest in you, what you're buying. They've got no interest in making you happy. So they're unhappy, and that kind of rubs off not only on you as a purchaser, but everyone else around in that team. And we've probably all seen this. We've probably all had interactions with these type of people. So for me, smiling and being happy in your workplace, and of course it works the other way as well. Maybe when you're buying something, you're in Tesco's, I'm using Tesco's, we all know Tesco's, and you buy something, you've got the cashier, maybe smile back. Because maybe they don't want to be there, but if they've made an effort for you, then maybe make an effort back. But this is fundamentally really, really important. Big smiles in whatever you do. If you're customer facing, you should be smiling. We've also heard of the scenario where you might be on a telephone and people say, I don't know if you're smiling or not. And it's quite true, because when you're happy, it's not just your face that's happy, you feel bubbly, you feel happy, you'll talk to people, you're interacting in a bit more detail. It's all about relationships. It doesn't matter who you are, what product or service you provide, whether you're an employer or an employee, it's all about relationship building with your customer, with your supplier, with your team, with the people around you. And if you've got no relationship building skills, then people are not going to come back and interact with you. So what you need to do is think, how can I build quality relationships with my customers? Well, simple things. We know picking up the phone, having meetings with them, going out and seeing them, thinking and listening. Really important. Listen to what they've got to say. We're all really, really good at talking. And I know, sorry, I'm standing up here and I'm doing this at this particular time. But we're all very, very good at talking. But are we great at listening? Because actually listening, you'll gain so much more from it. If you're listening, you can hear what your customer really thinks. You can hear what your customer really wants. You can understand what you need to adapt and change within your business, within your team. You know, if you've gone to somebody and you had a bad experience, that should be dealt with. And that problem should be resolved. But you're only going to get that message across if the person on the other end is listening to you. So relate this into your business. People have got to, in your team, have got to listen to your customers and your clients. And suppliers, because they'll be giving you good quality feedback as well. So build upon relationships. And it doesn't matter at what level. It could be the janitor or the caretaker that works within your business, the cleaner. They should be still building the same relationships that you might. They might not be on the same level, but they should still be developing and building relationships with the people within the business and people with outside the business. How many of you have walked into it could be a hotel, could be anywhere, and you know they're that as a member of staff, and they've not even greeted you or welcomed you? They might be the cleaner, the person going around picking up the rubbish, etc. But wouldn't it be nice if you walked in and they said, "Good morning, good afternoon, madam"? All of a sudden your experience has started at that particular point, just by walking in and being greeted by somebody, which might not be a senior manager. It could be someone much, much lower down the pecking order. But everybody's important in a team, that's why it's called team. So encourage the people around you to adopt all your values and everything that's about what you've built about the company. And if you're working for a company, look at the leaders, and hopefully they're giving you fantastic leadership and they're guiding you, and do what they ask. Work with them to develop and build the business. This is my definition of relationship building, working together as a team. Create disciplines and do the basics brilliantly. What many organisations fail at, small or huge, is the fact they don't always do the simple things. The simplest things are a game changer. If you go back to what I said earlier, if you just increase what you do by 1%, do something a little bit different, apply yourself slightly differently, you'll be 1% better than the rest of the competition out there. Now, if you increase that 1% on a day-by-day basis, you always challenge yourself, put yourself outside of your comfort zone, go that extra mile, 1% per day over a course of a year is a game changer. Your business or your team will grow and develop dramatically. So take the things which might seem very, very simple, look at how those disciplines are built around those very, very basic things, and develop them and grow them. For me, go into private retailers and you'll see someone eating behind the counter or drinking a cup of coffee. That's a real basic thing, and it shouldn't happen. And there's many more I could go on about, where very basic disciplines are ignored. And if they just tweak that, their business will start to grow and develop dramatically. And when you're responding to things like emails, phone calls, don't just do what everyone else does, just do the average. Give them the wow factor. So if an email comes in, they say it's okay to respond in about 24 hours. I get lots of emails in my email box, hundreds, and I have to siphon through the good stuff, the bad stuff, and the stuff actually I don't want to respond to. But the important stuff is your customers. The people that are engaging with you and buying with you, whether it's a problem, whether they want to buy something new. And you need to get back to them. And I would suggest to you, you get back to them within the hour. Because after that, they're going to go shopping elsewhere. If I want to buy something, and I'm no different probably to the rest of you in the room, I want to buy it now. Especially if I'm searching online. I found somewhere I want to go and buy from, hasn't got the price, hasn't got the quantity, I need to ask a few questions, I ping across an email, I don't get a response. I'm searching still. I'm in front of my computer, I found what I want to buy, they can't help me at this point in time, I keep going. And I might find the next person who does respond instantly. Where am I going to buy it from? I'm impatient. And many people are. People don't like to wait. So you must get back within the hour, create that wow factor, because many don't. And I'm talking here more on the small retailers, I'm not talking your Amazons of this world. But even then, they probably don't get back, certainly within the hour. I mean, you might be waiting 48 hours for a response or something like that. So think about how you can put a wow factor in your business. It might not be around, as I say, emails, it could be around many other things. How can you create a wow factor? Stand out from the crowd. Be different. Be amazing. Because you're experts. Now you just need to add some amazingness. Is that a word? Amazingness? We're going to use it anyway. If you can use that one as well. Amazingness to what you do. Make it different. Make it bigger. Make it better. Don't settle for second best. For me, this is one of our Catch lines. Think differently, work differently, and you will become different. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. It's a lovely little saying. But if you start to think differently about what you're doing on a daily basis, and you start to think how you can change your business or the business you work within, and you think differently, you start to automatically work differently. And if you start working differently, it becomes a habit. After about 13 weeks of doing something that you've put into place in your business, it will become a habit, and it'll become so much simpler to do it. You'll just do it naturally. And because of that, you will become different. And you'll become different as an individual, but your business or the business you work within will also become very, very different. And you'll start to stand out. Now you're the expert, but you're standing out. And now you're looking great against your competitors. Now you're looking great when people come to find you. And your clients, your suppliers, and friends, family, and anyone else around you knows that you're great and you're amazing and you're an expert at what you do, so they start referring and talking about you. To start to think out the box. Here's a short video. This was about a gentleman thinking out the box. I don't know if anyone has ever seen this. It's called the Dollar Shave Club. Mike, who we're going to meet in a second, it's quite a short video, is going to introduce us to the Dollar Shave Club. In 2011, he decided to do something different. And the way they marketed their business was online on YouTube. And what they did, they sold razors, okay, for gents, so you can have a shave. But they were being sold all around the world and have been for many, many years. But they took it online. And this video went viral within weeks. The company, about a year and a half ago, had a $20 million investment into the business. And now it's one of the biggest suppliers of gents razors. And they've had a spin-off as well, actually, and they're now doing female razors and various other shaving accessories and stuff like that. But let's watch this video, because it's very different. They thought a little bit out the box. It's a little bit of fun as well.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
Okay, so it's a little bit different, but because they were different, they seeked huge investment. They're global now. This was obviously very Americanized back in 2011, but they now have a global market. And all they're doing is selling a product that we've all bought for years at $1, but it's a subscription base. So what happens, you sign up and for $1 a month you get your razors turn up. And actually this is one of the very first starts of these subscription-based businesses. And there's lots of them out there now where you can sign up to a product and they ship it each month, or you pay into a little pot and each month you get something back in return. You may have come across things like Naked Wine, Gray's Boxing here in the UK. And if you haven't, as business owners, look into it, because you'll get some fantastic ideas about how to market your products. So that's grays.com and nakedwines.com, I think it is. If you Google them, they'll certainly come up. And there's many others out there as well, but it's a subscription-based idea. You get people buying your product, you're shipping it out the door, and your business becomes very valuable very quickly. But what they did is they just did it differently. They just thought out of the box. And that's what everybody needs to do. We all need to do it, including myself. But if you're doing big money and you've got good income and you've got a product that people want, you've got to still provide that excellent service, because it's very quickly, you can get up there and it all goes a bit wrong and bang, it all falls through the floor again. So for me, it's all about in the detail, paying attention to the detail. So here's a story. A couple of years ago, I was invited along to go to the Ritz for dinner. And we went up to London for the evening. There was about 6 of us. We've gone along, and we got there early because it's a Friday afternoon. And we thought, dinner's not until 7. We're going to have a couple of drinks. And then once we've had a couple of drinks, we'll make our way along to the Ritz for our 7 o'clock table and sit down and hopefully have a very, very nice meal. So we rocked up to the Ritz at about 6:45, early. We didn't want to be late. And I was being treated as well, so I was very keen to get there and spend my friend's money. And when we got to, as we were walking in, there's a lady standing behind a bit like a lectern like this. And she very politely said, do you have a reservation? And my friend said, yes, we do. It's under the name of Card. Oh, Mr. Card. Yes, table for 6. She said, I'm really sorry, sir, but your table's not ready. We were like, okay, this is the Ritz. You know, thought the table would be set and ready for us. She said, but if you'd like to just go through here, go to the bar. She said, order some drinks, they're on us. Okay, now this is a good start to a good experience. And now I'm going to get my free Hendrix. So we went and sat at the bar. She said, I'll come and get you when your table is ready. And about 1 minute to 7, she come along, your table's ready. So we didn't have to touch our drinks, they took them for us. That's what they do in these sorts of high-end places. And as we went back to the lectern, there was a gentleman there, very tall, bit like, you know, Lurch off the Addams Family, you know, his butler suit on and stuff like that. Can I take your jackets? So we handed him our jackets. Now we didn't get a raffle ticket back for our jacket. He just took our jackets, put them on a hanger. And then we were ushered into our table, and we were sat at our table. And all the nice stuff that you'd expect in a nice restaurant happened. We had a wine waiter come over and select the best wine for us. At this point, I didn't care what it cost. You know, the bottles range from something like £50 up to, well, tens of thousands actually, but we went for something sort of middle of the road, about £100. That's kind of middle of the road from my kind of wine tasting experiences. But the wine waiter took the time to spend with us and talk to us about what we can have, what we're going to have potentially to eat. We then had a waiter come over and talk to us about the menu. And then the way it was served was out of this world. So there's 6 of us sitting around a round table. This is the gentleman that welcomed us on the way in, actually. No idea what his name is, but we'll call him Mark. He was a very nice gentleman. And we sat around one of these round tables like this. And as they brought the food out, it was almost done in symphony. They walked out, 6 individual people, placed the food down in front of us, and it was served to perfection at that particular time. After dinner was served, one of the other things we got, when we got the menus, by the way, there was no prices on it. Because my friend was paying, it was a treat, there was no prices, so I didn't know what I was paying. So I was, I'll have that looks good, I'll have that. So from that perspective, that was something they thought about. It was in the detail. Once we had dinner and our dessert, etc., we went back out and we got our jackets back. And the tall gentleman with the dicky bow tie, he knew what jacket was mine. It wasn't one of those scenarios, have you ever seen Del Boy, he gets the wrong jacket and he puts it on, he's like that. I got the right jacket. And there were 6 of us, but he knew that was my jacket, that was my friend's jacket, etc., etc. He knew what was happening, he thought about it and planned it. And as we left the hotel, we all thanked. And it just felt that experience that we got. We knew that we'd been loved, and everyone was probably treated the same, but we didn't feel like we were treated the same. We were treated individually. It was about how they treated us, the detail that they thought about. Here's another very brief story. British Airways. I had the fortunate opportunity, and I won't tell you how, but if you want to know, I will share it with you, to fly first class with British Airways over Christmas. And on that journey, I decided to propose. I'm not going to embarrass my other half standing at the back there taking photos, but we got engaged at 38,000 feet over Texas, or as we were coming into Texas. It was all part of my big plan. But the way we were treated on that journey was exceptional. Now, you'd expect it. You're flying a top-class airline and you're flying in a cabin which you'd expect that service. But as soon as they knew that I proposed, they actually, and I took a photo of this, hopefully you won't be able to see it too well, but this was a menu, and they went off and they got the whole crew on the whole plane to sign the menu for us, with little messages, congratulations. I would say 50% of the crew come and congratulated us. They gave us a bottle of champagne to take away with us. That's nice. The captain gave us, I'll call it the captain's log. Someone who flies planes will know more about this than me. But he gave us the captain's log that they plotted the route manually as we flew from London to the US. And of course, they announced it over the tannoy where we hid underneath the seats. As we were coming into landing, they were given the, we're coming into landing, the weather here. Oh, by the way, we'd like to, say congratulations to Dave and Joe on their engagement. And I was kind of like, okay. But they thought about the detail. They just went that little bit further, just a little bit out of the box. They could have done nothing. They could have just, congratulations, thank you very much. Thank you for flying British Airways. See you another time. And I would still think that was quite good. But they just went one step further, provided something that had a bit of a wow factor. Okay, say thank you. How many of you actually thank your customers? Actually do take the time to not only listen to them, but maybe send them a message. None of you? You must say thank you to them. Give them a bottle of wine at Christmas? Easter egg? I don't know. Maybe you know it's their birthday. It's what we all do. We all do the basic, boring stuff. Go that extra mile. And I'm going to tell you and share something, and this is not necessarily my idea, but it's something that works really, really well, and it's something we implement into our business. Saying thank you to somebody means a lot. And you can send them an email, you can make a phone call, you can write them a little post-it note, and it all counts. But what about if you go one step further? How about if you've just worked with a customer and you want to say thank you? Now, you can send them a bunch of flowers or a bottle of wine. But all you've got to do, in fairness, is send them, very simply, a thank you card. Nothing out of this world. But there is some rules about sending this thank you card. It can't have your corporate logo on it. Okay, so it can't be branded whatever your business is. You can't print a label to stick on the front that's come out your CRM system. Don't run it through a franking machine. Okay, it's 3 basic rules. When you write the card, write it with a pen. That sounds really obvious, but don't, in other words, computer print it inside. Take the time to think about what you're going to put there, what you're saying to them, the message you're portraying to them. Handwrite the address on the front and then send it with a stamp on it. And you get a special, feature stamp that's round at that particular time, certainly at Christmas. Get one of those to put on it. It means it's current as well. It's not just a stamp you had found in the back of the sofa or something like that. Or you could send a boring letter that lands on the doormat. It looks like that. Now, for me, if that landed on my doormat, I'd come down in the morning, I'd look at it, and I'd think, it's a bill. It's for the HMRC, and they're asking for tax money from me. They come in brown envelopes, manila ones. But it's not really exciting. But if it's in a bright, coloured envelope, and that could be maybe corporate. I'll tell you what we do. We have pink ones for ladies as well, and blue ones for gentlemen, so we can actually mix the envelopes up. And we send these just to thank the client. Doesn't mean we won't send something as well, but the thank you card means so much. But here's the twist. Send it to their home address. Send it to their business. It ends up going through the receptionist, Dawn, whatever her name's going to be, and she'll probably end up opening it. The impact's gone. By the time it lands on the desk, it looks like that. It's not quite the same. You're going to say to me, well, how do I know their home address? Look on Company's House. Because most people will deal with the directors. So you can look on Company's House and you can typically find the directors' home addresses. And if you can't, then maybe ask someone that can find that information for you. So try really hard to get it on their front doormat. Because when they come down in the morning and see that on their front doormat, they're going to go, wow, what's that big bright orange envelope? It's not my birthday. It's not Christmas, I know that. What is it? And they pick up all this post off the doormat, and the first thing they're going to open, they're going to get all this sort of stuff and throw it to one side. They're not interested. They will open this. They'll be intrigued. What is it? What is it? And it's a great way of getting to somebody very, very quickly. So saying thank you is a massive opportunity for you to build relationships. We spoke earlier about developing and building relationships. Say thank you to people. You'll be amazed what it does. We also use, I've got some here actually, postcards, okay? And these are branded. These are a little bit different, but we would send this with a gift of some description. Okay, we do work within the anti-bribery rules and regulations as well. But we're sending that, we're a handwritten message on the back, and we'll put a note on there. And that will be as a thank you, and the reason why. We're thanking you because. And sometimes it might be just because you care. You haven't always got to have a particular reason they've spent money with you. So thank you cards are really important. Game changer. And the final rule, don't under-promise, or sorry, do the opposite. Under-promise and make sure you over-deliver. So don't do the opposite way round. So if you're going to do something for somebody and you promise them, firstly make sure you deliver on it. There's nothing worse. We've all had it. Someone says, I'm going to do this, and it doesn't get done. And then the frustration kicks in. So think about it if it was you're on the receiving end. Maybe under-promise and then go that extra mile and go way up above what they expected. And they're going to go, wow, okay. They only said they're going to do this, and now they've gone and done this. And that's a big difference. If you do it the opposite way round, and you promise somebody and don't deliver, believe me, they won't be a client for long. They'll find someone else that will give them what they need. How many of you have seen this? Talking about delivery, FedEx, second biggest courier in the world. Because I think they are just beaten by UPS. I think by quite a bit. Does anyone notice anything about this logo? If you do, just put your hand in there. Don't say anything. Does anyone know what's strange about this logo? Quite significant, actually. Millions of pounds were spent developing this logo. Okay. I'm going to show you something. And don't blame me if you crash your car, fall off your bicycle, walk into a wall. You're going to go home tonight and you're going to go to your other half. You never guess what I just saw today? This is brilliant. And you'll show them. And in 6 months' time, you'll be driving down the road, because I still do it now, and I saw this a couple of years ago. You'll be driving down the road and you'll go, that arrow, now you see it, okay? You're going to see that everywhere you go now. That arrow will be there wherever you look. And they spent millions of pounds. Some architect got given the job, this graphic designer, to do that. I just want to share that with you. It's not actually relevant to the talk, but I thought it was really interesting. So, yeah, look out for the arrow. So here's a final thought. Customer service is not a department. It is everybody's job, whoever you are. I go back to the janitor, the caretaker, the welcome and greeter who sits on the reception desk, the salesperson, the ops person, the directors, and all the other jobs and roles that fit within that team. We all see it. We all see the problem where someone says, it's not my job. It's everybody's job. It's probably one of the most important roles within a business to serve your customers. I think that's why British Airways use it. We serve our customers.